Women make up 70% of the healthcare workforce, but only 20% of its leadership. On Her Story, we'll explore the careers of bold and influential women from Silicon Valley to Capitol Hill and learn how they've overcome the odds. This is Her Story, a program where we explore what's beyond the glass ceiling.
Good afternoon, Miss Fawn Lopez. How are you?
Good afternoon, Carladenise. I am doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm fantastic. I'm actually really, really excited and thrilled that you have found the time to join us on Her Story. And so as we think about the purpose of the show, which is really inspiring women and inspiring men as well, anyone who's in healthcare and who needs a little bit of boost in wisdom to advance and catapult their career are typically the folks who will listen. I really would love to hear about your background, Fawn. Tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing with your time and your journey into modern healthcare and into journalism and communications.
So I'm currently the publisher emeritus of Modern Healthcare. I was Modern Healthcare's publisher since 2005 and retired at the end of 2022. I said retired, not actually retired, rewired, rewiring maybe, but I'm still engaged and involved with Modern Healthcare on a very different level, supporting some of the key initiatives and those initiatives that I'm very passionate about. They are women leaders in healthcare and they are, sustainability. Those are the two of the key projects that Modern Healthcare hosts on an annual basis, which I'm still fortunate enough to be involved with. So that's what I do for Modern Healthcare. And then outside of that, I am just, trying to take it easy, doing some of the things I didn't get to do when I was in my very active role as publisher of Modern Healthcare. So yes, I'm experiencing new things that I postponed, and I'm loving it actually. And I miss, being fully engaged, but I don't miss it that much, to be honest with you. So I'm enjoying my new situation right now.
You have met and probably interviewed and engaged with some of the most incredible leaders in the industry and out, and you talk about change. What do you think you've learned or summarized about the characteristics of a very good or strong change agent? Or if you had to nail it or boil it down, did you see a theme among the leaders that were the most impactful?
Yes. Courage, huge. To make big things happen, to go against the norm, it takes courage. And then with that is resilience, right? There are always obstacles to overcome. There are always naysayers. There are always things that don't always go your way. So the most impactful, successful leaders that I know are those that are very courageous and they're resilient, hugely. They're intentional. Good leaders are intentional leaders, people who know and are really paying attention and in a very intentional way Good leaders are good listeners, and they are collaborative. They. It's not just about them. It's not just about their ideas. It's about the whole. It's about getting everyone to the table and talking and facilitating and talking about issues and allowing people to have a voice. And so those are some of the, I think, what I've seen, characteristics that make leaders, effective, that create, build strong leaders. Yes, they have to be smart. Yes, they have to be good communicators, but they got to have the courage to speak. To take a position to drive change forward.
I'm curious if you would be willing to share with the audience, what inspires you? As a woman, as a woman of color, who's been in pretty much a male-dominated field, has been probably the first of many things in your family, in your community, in your industry. Tell us a little bit about what inspires you to keep going.
Well, to answer that question, I might take us back a little.
Yes, please.
Years back, right? So, I haven't always been the publisher emeritus of modern healthcare. So almost 48 years ago, I was stranded at a refugee camp at Camp Pendleton, California, in San Diego. I was with 8 family members. None of us spoke English. We were poor. We had to embrace a new culture and a radically different family dynamic. My father was a colonel in the South Vietnamese Army, and as the war drew to a close, he decided to risk his own life and the lives of his wife and 6 children and their father to seek freedom in the United States. Our journey took us from Saigon to Guam to Camp Pendleton.
Wow.
And from there, it was on to Kansas City, where we took more steps to fulfill my father's plan for a better future in America. All of us, even the kids, children, looked for work. My mother was a seamstress, never worked before in her life. My father was a janitor, former colonel, and he worked 2 jobs to support the family. My parents lived the gospel of hard work, while the kids built a foundation for our future through education. So it was with my family, the generosity of the American people, and what that gave us the strength, gave my family the strength and will it needed to build a new life in America. So we were focused and determined to not just squander the opportunity that we risked our lives to fulfill. And it was about the future. And a way to a better future was through education. So my father used to say, the money will come and go, but your education and your integrity will be with you forever. It will give you the confidence and freedom to do things that you might otherwise not even attempt or consider. So it's been that for me that has driven me, and it was a driving force for all that, everything that I've done since then. And, I've had to navigate healthcare. I came to modern healthcare, actually, didn't want to go to modern healthcare, I was recruited to Modern Healthcare when I was with the same company. Modern Healthcare is owned by a very successful B2B media company. And I was with a different brand when I was being recruited to Modern Healthcare. Didn't want to go to healthcare. I didn't want to leave where I was because I loved, my work. We were having all kinds of, we were breaking all kinds of records. And but it took 7 months after I had continued repeatedly turn the job down. 7 months later, with pressure from leadership and a sense of obligation and responsibility, I took the job. At the time, Modern Healthcare was a turnaround. And it was a turnaround situation that I was hired to fix. And I didn't plan to stay longer than 2 years. And after I got there, 6 months later, there was no way I was going to leave because I loved the work. I loved the mission of not only the industry, the healthcare industry, but also the mission of Modern Healthcare, which is, to help healthcare executives and organizations be more successful by providing the news, information, and insights that they need to be successful. So yes, I have been there since. I was at Modern Healthcare. I joined Modern Healthcare in October of 2001, and became the publisher in 2005, and retired at the end of 2022. So for me, it was about, I've had to overcome a lot to get to where I was or where I am today. And I wanted to make sure that other people, if I could help it at all, that to shorten or to help them to not have to go through some of the challenges or obstacles that I faced as a woman, as a minority in this very, when I joined 22 years ago, very male dominated and white industry.
Fawn, it's interesting. I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember what city I was in. And I looked up. I was the only female in the room, and I was the only person of color in the room. And I loved the meeting. It was a perfectly fine meeting. And I, did my stuff and held my own. But as I was getting on the taxi to go to the airport, I said to myself, how is this possible in the year 2023 that I'm still showing up to business meetings? It's the only woman and the only person of color. So we have to keep doing what you have done, which is open that door and break that glass to create a pathway, right, for others to follow. And as you describe the strengths of leaders, I heard all of those in your own story. The courage and the intentionality, right? Really, I like to call it fearlessness.
Yep.
Right? To do things that have never been done before. So I'm very grateful for you and everything that you've done in your leadership role professionally, and the things that you do personally that go unspoken, right? That folks don't often share or even know about. At this pivotal juncture in your career, right? I'm sure you're looking at role models to figure out to go left or to go right or how to manage. But you are a role model. And so if you had to give advice to your younger self, right? And others that are wanting to get to the space of vocational freedom where you can decide how you want to spend your time. What advice would you give?
Nothing good comes easy. I mentioned earlier when about my background, and my father always told us, a way out of poverty was through education and hard work. So, and you have to always look for opportunities. They just don't, and sometimes they come to you and you're not aware of it. Always look for ways to contribute, to do more, work hard, be smart, be opportunistic, but be with a sense of purpose and giving in mind. And look for people that will support you, that will champion you, will promote you, will help you. We don't do this alone. Build a community of support. When I was younger, and actually I still do have it, I created my own personal board of directors. And they include my family members, friends, mentors, former bosses, colleagues, and from different paths, different, industries, different roles in their professional career, so that I could ask and tap them for advice, feedback, and never afraid to ask for help, right? You can't be too proud, and you don't know everything. So I will be the first to say, I don't know everything. I will ask and be curious. And an advice I would give myself, my younger self, is not to worry too much.
Yes.
There are things you can't control. There are things that are out of your control, and that you can't save everyone. People
Yes.
have to do it for themselves. You give them the opportunity, you give them the platform, but they have to take it. They have to make it happen. So those are some of the things that I would say to myself. And for me, working hard was just a part of my life, what I do. And I figured it out why. I didn't mind it. It was because I loved what I did. So it wasn't work. I was getting a lot more from it than I was giving back to it. So if you really are purposeful, if you're intentional, if you're passionate about what you do, work is a joy. It's a privilege to get to do what we do.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us. Most importantly, thank you for your leadership in the industry and everything you've done for the phenomenal women, those that have been honored and recognized and those that are yet to be. I would like to say thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you, Ms. Fawn Lopez, for sharing your story with her story.
Thank you, Dr. Edwards. You've been an inspiration. You've been a good friend, and I am honored and grateful to have you in my corner. And I know you're in many people's corners. So thank you for all that you do to help support other women and minorities.
Yes. Well, thank you.